Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at a very unique knife. This is Benchmade's take on a traditional slip joint. This is the Benchmade proper. I'm not normally a slip joint traditional knife kind of guy, but I really like the shape and materials in this one, and I figured I'd go ahead and take a look at it. It's a pretty nice knife. So we'll go over some specs, do some size comparisons, like, neutral, dislike, and then I'll give my thoughts. Alright, the specs for this thing. So closed length or handle length is 3.83 inches. So it's not super long. The blade length is 2.86, which is under that 3-inch mark for those of you where states don't allow over 3-inch blades. The overall length is 6.69. The handle thickness is 0.41 and blade thickness is 0.09. A little thick for a traditional slip joint style knife in my experience. And the weight comes out to 2.32 ounces. So it's pretty light, but it doesn't have a clip, which is why I have that hideous piece of paracord on there, just to help get it out of the pocket. All right, let's go ahead and go to some size comparisons. So here it is next to the Leatherman Skeletal and the Boker Quaken. This is the full size. It's very similar length to the Skeletal, much shorter than the Quaken. It's also half the weight of the Skeletal, so if that makes a difference to you at all. Next up, we have the Spyderco Introvert. So it's a little shorter and a lot more narrow than the Introvert. About similar thickness, though, surprisingly. Here it is next to the Spyderco Bird Finch 2 and the Essie Azula. I'll bring that one out as well. Alright. So you can see it's not super small. The Azula is a small fixed blade, though. It's comparable to that. Here it is opened next to the Leatherman Skeletal. Again, similar length, and again, shorter than the Boker Quaken. We'll go ahead and grab the Spyderco Finch 2 open so you can see it, and we'll bring back out the Azula, and opened up, it's a somewhat similar length to the Azula. A little bit longer, not by much, but and much thinner blade stock. And here it is next to the Spyderco Introvert. Similar length, much more narrow, about the same thickness though. Alright, and for one last size comparison, I'll get some help from my buddy James over from the Odd Ones Out. Here he is. You can see this knife's a little big compared to him. I thought he would be bigger in real life, but he's only about 6 inches tall. So this knife's a little large for him to carry. Let me see if I can find one that he could maybe actually hold. Give me just a second. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the Finch 2. This is a bit more James's size. There we go. That's almost a perfect fit. Alright, on to what I like about the knife. First up is the smoothness, the action, I suppose you could still call it. When I first got it, it was a little hard to open, but once I lubed it up, it opens and closes extremely easily. Thankfully, I don't have to use that nail nick, which is hell. But it's really good. Next up, the materials. The handles on this version are the micarta, and it's only available in green. And the steel is S30V, which is a pretty good steel. Does have some tendency to chip, but you shouldn't be using this as a pry bar. Next thing I like is the very unique sheepsfoot blade shape. I haven't seen one like this on a slip joint knife with the swedge from the top coming down to meet it. I really like the blade shape on this. It's really cool, and it's very easy to get into bags and boxes and things like that. Next up, the size and weight. It is a little short, but it's larger than most traditional knives, unless you're going like buck or something like that. But it's really light. The size is decent. I can pretty much fit all my fingers on the handle. It's kind of cramped, but and there's some nice jimping to help with the grip a little, so that's great. Next up's the build quality. I have heard a lot about Benchmade, but the blade centering on this one's almost perfect, and it's built pretty well. Speaking of, the last thing that I like about this knife, it uses Torx screws instead of pins that a lot of traditionals use. Let's go to the neutral. Okay, things I'm kind of neutral about with this knife. The price. So this knife is about $114. I believe the red G10 version is a little cheaper. I could be wrong. That's what the guy at Going Gear told me when I bought this. But the price isn't crazy, but it's just kind of decent materials. I think if it were made by anyone other than Benchmade, it'd be a little bit cheaper. If I could get this knife for around $80, $90, I would have been much more happy with it. But even at 115, it's pretty good. Next is the color selection. It's only available in green unless you go with the red G10. Kind of disappointing. And lastly, the blade thickness. This blade is not super thick by most folding knife standards, but traditional knives, much different. You can see here it's almost as thick as the Introvert, which isn't great. And the grind on this isn't really helping too much. I kind of wish it were full flat grind. Alright. What do I dislike about this knife? Nothing really. It's not perfect, but hey, this is not Nick's channel. There's no ugly. Anyway, not a whole lot to dislike about this knife. It's pretty decent. I haven't really had any complaints with it. Alright, on to some conclusions. Would I recommend this knife? If this is what you're looking for and it visually interests you, yeah, get it. I haven't had any issues with the knife at all whatsoever, apart from it being a little hard to disassemble. But it is possible. The fact that that's even there, I'm appreciative for. But it's pretty good. I really haven't had any issues with it. I normally am kind of a very picky person when I do these reviews, but I haven't found any problems with this one. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for some upcoming videos. Thanks guys.